Can someone please make it stop? A passenger shouted across the business class cabin. The baby in the woman's arms continued screaming, eyes red and swollen. The young mother, in an expensive business suit, tried desperately to soothe the child, but her hands trembled. Her face showed pure desperation. Whispers spread through the cabin. She's a CEO and can't even handle her own baby. When the flight attendant approached, a deep male voice cut through. "Give me the child." Everyone turned. A man from the back row, old jacket, deep eyes, calloused hands. He took the baby, held her against his chest, began humming a military lullaby. The crying stopped. The entire cabin fell silent. The CEO stared at him, then noticed the faded rescue insignia on his sleeve. Ethan Cole, 37 years old, single father, aviation rescue engineer, raising his 8-year-old daughter Leia alone after his wife passed away. He was on a work trip, supporting safety inspections for a new project between his company and Grant Biotech. Now flying back to London after completing the assignment. Amelia Grant, 33 years old, CEO of Grant Biotech, recently divorced, traveling with her 1-year-old daughter Mia to an international conference, also returning to London on the same flight. Little Mia had been crying since takeoff. The entire cabin was irritated. Amelia tried everything. Sweat soaked through her collar. Her face showed exhaustion and worry. A passenger muttered, "A CEO who can't even manage her own child." Ethan stood up, spoke quietly. "Let me try." He took the baby, held her using the rhythm and technique he'd learned rescuing children in disaster zones. A military lullaby his wife used to sing. The crying gradually stopped. Amelia watched in amazement, a strange sense of peace. When he returned the baby, she noticed the insignia sewn into his sleeve. "International Rescue Unit," she asked. "You used to do rescue work?" "Used to." While Ethan was on his business trip, Leah stayed home with her grandmother. Every evening, he'd call for a video chat. In those calls, Leah always said, "Dad, the heroes on TV look just like you." He'd smile. "Heroes are just people who don't walk away, kiddo." "Will you always come back to me?" "Always, that's a promise." The plane landed smoothly. Amelia gathered Mia's things. Ethan helped her with the overhead luggage without being asked. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know what I would have done." "You would have figured it out. Parents always do." "I'm not sure I'm very good at this." "Nobody is at first. You just keep showing up." She wanted to ask more. His name, his story. But people were pushing past, eager to disembark. "Safe travels," he said, and disappeared into the crowd. The next morning at Heathrow Airport, Amelia was buying coffee when she heard a familiar voice. Ethan was on a video call, buying pastries. On his phone screen, Leah squealed, "Dad, that's the lady with the crying baby." Amelia turned, embarrassed. "I'm so sorry about yesterday." Ethan smiled. "Nothing to apologize for. Babies cry. That's their job. Can I buy you coffee, as thanks?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Sure, but only if you tell me how the little one is doing." They sat together at a small cafe table, Mia sleeping peacefully in her carrier, Leah waving from the phone screen. "She slept through the night," Amelia said, "first time in weeks. Probably exhausted from all that flying. Or you worked some kind of magic." "No magic, just rhythm and patience. Things I learned the hard way." She studied him. "You said you used to do rescue work?" "Aviation rescue engineer. Now I do safety system maintenance. Steadier hours, better for raising a kid alone." "Your wife?" "Died 3 years ago. Sudden illness. Left me with a 6-year-old and no idea what I was doing." "I'm sorry." "Me too, but Leah keeps me going. Forces me to keep living instead of just surviving." Amelia understood that feeling. "I'm recently divorced. He wasn't interested in being a father. So now it's just Mia and me. And you're doing great. You saw me on that plane? I was a disaster. You were a tired parent. There's a difference. You didn't give up. You kept trying. That's what matters." Leah interrupted from the phone. "Miss Lady, want to give baby Mia this bracelet. It's magic." She held up a plastic bracelet. Amelia laughed. Her first real laugh in months. Ethan untied the old rescue cord from his wrist. handed it to Amelia. Keep this, to remind you that even when you're exhausted, someone understands. I can't take this. It looks important. It is. That's why I want you to have it. Before she could respond, his phone alarm went off. I have to pick up Leah from my mother's house. Of course, thank you again. Take care of yourself and that beautiful baby. They parted ways, no plans to meet again, but Amelia kept the cord, tied it around her wrist, a reminder that kindness existed. Several days later, Ethan received an assignment: inspect the automatic fire suppression system at Grant Biotech's new headquarters. When he arrived at the building, he was stunned. Amelia was leading an emergency technical meeting. She froze when she saw him. The man who'd helped her daughter was now the engineer from her partner company. Because of her recent divorce and not yet finding reliable childcare, Amelia had been forced to bring Mia to morning meetings. A shareholder smirked. The CEO and the rescue engineer. Truly fate. The meeting was tense. Several directors questioned the system's quality. Ethan calmly explained the specifications. His presentation was clear, professional, confident, without being arrogant. Amelia found herself impressed, not just by his knowledge, but by his presence, how he commanded respect without demanding it. After the meeting, she approached him. I had no idea you worked with our partner company. Small world. Thank you for not mentioning the plane incident. Why would I? It's nobody's business. Some people would use it, make jokes, undermine me. Then they're not people worth knowing. Mia started fussing. Amelia tried to soothe her, but the baby's cries grew louder. Ethan glanced over. May I? She hesitated, then nodded. He took Mia, used the same technique as before. The baby quieted almost immediately. How do you do that? Heartbeat. Babies recognize rhythm. It makes them feel safe. Where did you learn this? Disaster zones, after earthquakes, floods, when children are traumatized, you can't just tell them it's okay. You have to show them through touch, sound presence. That's beautiful. It's survival, but I'm glad it sounds beautiful. Over the following weeks, they worked together on the safety system installation. Their interactions were professional, but something was building beneath the surface. Ethan would arrive early, bring coffee, make sure Amelia had eaten. She'd ask about Leah, about his life, about what made him leave rescue work. I couldn't do both, he admitted one day. Be there for disasters and be there for my daughter. After my wife died, Leah needed me more than strangers did. That must have been hard, giving up something you were good at. It was, but being Leah's dad is the most important thing I'll ever do. Everything else is just work. One evening, Amelia invited him to stay late, review the final installation plans over dinner. But really, she just wanted company. Adult conversation that wasn't about quarterly reports or custody arrangements. They ordered takeout, ate in her office while Mia slept in a portable crib. Can I ask you something? Amelia said. Sure. Do you ever regret it, giving up rescue work? Sometimes, when I see disasters on the news, part of me wants to go, to help. But then Leah calls me from school, excited about a drawing she made. And I remember why I chose this life. She's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have her. She saved me as much as I saved her. How? After my wife died, I was drowning, going through motions, but Leah kept asking questions, kept needing me, kept forcing me to engage with life. Without her, I would have disappeared into work and never come back. Amelia understood that feeling, the temptation to lose yourself in productivity rather than face emotions. I do that, she admitted. Hide in work. It's easier than admitting I'm scared. Scared of what? Everything. That I'm a terrible mother, that I can't do this alone, that Mia will grow up and resent me for the divorce, for choosing work over family. You didn't choose work over family. My ex-husband would disagree. Your ex-husband chose himself over both of you. That's different. She felt tears sting her eyes. How do you know that? Because you're here, late at night, bringing your baby to meetings because you can't bear to be apart from her. That's not choosing work. That's doing whatever it takes to provide while staying present. It doesn't feel like enough. It never does, but it is. You're showing up. That's what matters. Mia stirred, made soft baby sounds. Both adults went quiet, watching her. She's beautiful, Ethan said. She looks like her father, but I hope she has my stubbornness. She'll need both. Beautiful and stubborn is a powerful combination. Amelia smiled. What about Leah? What's she like? Ethan pulled out his phone, showed her pictures. Leah painting, Leah at the park, Leah making silly faces. She's an artist, sees the world in colors and feelings. Nothing like me. I bet she's exactly like you. Just in ways you don't recognize. Maybe. They talked until midnight about parenting, loss, hope, the difficulty of moving forward when part of you wants to stay frozen in grief. When Ethan finally left, Amelia felt lighter, less alone. She looked at the rescue cord still tied around her wrist, traced the worn fibers with her finger. He'd given her more than a bracelet. He'd given her permission to be imperfect, to struggle, to keep trying anyway. The next day, Leah sent Amelia a video message. Hi, Miss Amelia. I drew this for baby Mia. It's a superhero with a cape. The drawing showed a woman holding a baby, both wearing capes, both smiling. Amelia cried watching it. Happy tears, the first in so long. She sent back a video. Thank you, Leah. Mia and I love it. You're very talented. Leah beamed on camera. Dad says you're brave. Are you? Amelia thought about it. I'm trying to be. That's the same thing. Dad says trying is the brave part. From the mouths of children. 2 weeks later, the fire alarm suddenly blared through Grant Biotech headquarters. Smoke poured from the technical floor below. The automatic sprinkler system failed to activate. Panic spread through the building. Ethan didn't hesitate. Ran to the control room. Broke open the emergency panel. Manually connected the backup power. The sprinklers activated. But smoke was already thick. He wrapped his jacket around his face. Found Amelia in her office, clutching Mia, frozen with fear. We need to move. Now. The stairs are blocked. We go through the auxiliary hallway. He took Mia, guided Amelia through the smoke. When she stumbled, he carried her. Baby on one shoulder, mother supported with his other arm. The security cameras caught everything. A man in work clothes carrying the CEO and her baby through flames and smoke. 15 minutes later, firefighters arrived. The building was secure, no fatalities. When the fire marshal investigated, they discovered arson. The fire had been deliberately set. Police traced it back to Amelia's ex-husband. He'd wanted to destroy the company, force her to lose her controlling shares. He'd hired someone to sabotage the fire system, then start a fire during business hours. The plan was to make Amelia look incompetent, unsafe, unfit to lead. Instead, it exposed him. He was arrested, charged with attempted murder, arson, corporate sabotage. At a press conference, Amelia stood before cameras, Ethan beside her. If not for this man, my daughter and I wouldn't be here. If anyone thinks courage only comes from power, look at him. He ran toward danger when everyone else ran away. A reporter shouted, Mr. Cole, why did you risk your life? Ethan's answer was simple. I heard a child crying. That's never a sound I can ignore. The video went viral. Millions of views. Comments pouring in. This is what a real hero looks like. Single dad risks everything for a CEO and her baby. Why isn't this man famous? But fame brought scrutiny. Investigators dug into both their lives. Tabloids ran stories. CEO romance with rescue hero. From airplane meet cute to office love story. The board called an emergency meeting, demanded Amelia address the inappropriate relationship. There is no relationship. He's a colleague. He carried you out of a burning building. He carried many people out of burning buildings. That's what he does. The optics are problematic. The optics of me being alive? Yes, terrible for business. Ms. Grant, please be serious. I am being serious. You're questioning whether I should be grateful to the man who saved my daughter's life. That's insane. We're questioning the nature of your relationship. We're friends, colleagues, parents who understand each other. If that's a crime, fire me. They didn't, but the pressure mounted on me. Ethan suggested stepping back. I can recommend another engineer. Complete the project remotely. No, I won't let them push you out. Amelia, it's not worth the fight. Yes, it is, because if I let them do this to you, I'm telling Mia that powerful people can bully good people. I won't teach her that. She held another press conference, this time with Leah and Mia present. I want to be clear. Ethan Cole is not my boyfriend. He's not my partner. He's the man who saved my daughter's life, twice. Once on a plane when she wouldn't stop crying and I was at my breaking point. Once in a fire, my ex-husband started to kill us. She paused. Let that sink in. If you think that creates an inappropriate relationship, then yes, it does. I am inappropriately grateful. Inappropriately in awe of his courage. Inappropriately determined to make sure he's treated with the respect he deserves. Leah stepped forward, spoke into the microphone. My dad is a hero. He saves people. That's what heroes do. Why are you mad about that? The room erupted in applause. The innocence of a child cutting through cynicism. That clip went even more viral than the first. Leah's simple question echoing across social media. Public opinion shifted dramatically. The board backed down, apologized. But Amelia was done playing their games. She announced her resignation as CEO, not in defeat, but in transformation. I'm stepping down to focus on something more important, making sure people like Ethan are recognized, supported, celebrated for the work they do. The media went wild. CEO quits after rescue drama. But those who understood saw the truth. She wasn't running away. She was running towards something better. That night, Ethan found her on the roof of the building, looking out over London. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. For Mia, for Leah, for every parent who's ever felt judged for being human. What will you do now? I have an idea. Want to hear it? Always. A foundation, supporting rescue workers, single parents, anyone trying to do the impossible while the world watches and criticizes. That's ambitious. I'm an ambitious person. You may have noticed. He smiled. I have noticed, among other things. Like what? Like how you always put Mia first. How you stand up for people, even when it costs you. How you're trying so hard to be perfect when being real is so much better. You see all that? I see you, Dr. Amelia. Not the CEO, not the title, just you. And I like what I see. She turned to face him. What are we doing, Ethan? I don't know, but I know I don't want to stop. Neither do I. They stood close, not touching, but connected in ways that went beyond physical. I'm scared, she admitted. Of what? Of this. Of caring about someone again. Of giving Mia another person to lose. I'm scared too, but Leah taught me something. Fear is real, but so is love, and love is worth the risk. Is it? I think so, but we don't have to rush. We can take this slow. Figure it out together. Together, I like that word. Me too. Below them, the city sparkled. Millions of lights, millions of stories. Theirs was just beginning. 3 months after the fire, Amelia launched the Horizon Project, a foundation supporting rescue workers and single parents. Ethan was hired as safety advisor. Initially, he declined, but Leah changed his mind. Dad, you teach me to help people. Why not teach more people? Hard to argue with 8-year-old logic. He accepted, began training new emergency response teams. Amelia managed the funding and outreach programs. They worked side by side, building something meaningful. One afternoon, Amelia watched him teach a class, his calm demeanor, patient explanations, the way he made complex ideas simple. You make me believe kindness never goes out of style. He smiled. I just do what I wish someone had done for my wife years ago. What do you mean? She had a medical emergency before we knew she was sick, collapsed in a grocery store. Someone called 911, but nobody stayed with her. She was alone until the ambulance came. I think about that a lot. I'm sorry. Me too. But it taught me something. Staying matters, being present, not walking away. That's what you've done for me. For Mia, you stayed. Because you're worth staying for. Leah and Mia played together in the Foundation's courtyard, laughing, chasing butterflies. The rescue cord hung from a tree branch. Their little ritual, a reminder of where they'd started. They look like sisters, Amelia observed. Maybe they are, in the ways that matter. What about us? What are we? I don't know, but I know I care about you a lot. I care about you too, but I'm terrified. Of what? Of screwing this up. Of Maya getting attached and you leaving. Of losing you like I lost my marriage. I'm not your ex-husband. I don't abandon people. I know. Logically, I know that. But fear isn't logical. He took her hand. Then let's be scared together. But let's not let fear make our decisions. She squeezed his hand. Okay. Together. The Foundation grew quickly. More rescue workers trained. More families supported, lives changed. One veteran approached Ethan after a session. Thank you, man. I've been struggling since I left active duty. This gives me purpose again. You always had purpose. You just needed the right environment to see it. Still, thank you. After he left, Amelia said, You're good at this, helping people see their worth. Only because someone once did it for me. Your wife, and others, people who stayed when they could have left. That changes you, makes you want to do the same. They began spending more time together outside work, family dinners, park visits, movie nights. Leah and Mia bonded quickly. The age difference didn't matter. They were sisters in spirit. One evening, Mia took her first steps, wobbling toward Leah, who cheered her on. Amelia cried, happy tears. Did you see that? I saw. She's incredible. Like her mom, Ethan added softly. Amelia looked at him. Thank you for seeing me, for being here, for not running when things got complicated. Thank you for letting me in, for trusting me with your heart and your daughter. I do trust you. More than I've trusted anyone in a long time. That means everything. That night, after the girls were asleep, they sat on Amelia's patio. Can I tell you something? She asked. Always. When my marriage fell apart, I thought I'd never feel safe with someone again. That I'd spend my life alone protecting Mia from my mistakes. And now? Now I realize being alone isn't protecting anyone. It's just hiding. So what do you want? She looked at him directly. I want this, us, whatever we're becoming. I want to stop being scared and start being brave. That's the bravest thing you've ever said. Learn from the best. They kissed, gentle, tentative, perfect. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. What happens now? She asked. Now we keep doing this, being honest, being present, building something real. I like that plan. Me too. Inside, Leah's drawing hung on the refrigerator. 2 families, holding hands, under a bright sun, the caption in her careful handwriting, My big family. Simple, true, beautiful. 1 year later, the Horizon Project unveiled its new automated fire alert system, designed by Ethan's team, funded by Amelia's foundation. The logo was created by Leah, 2 small hands clasped together, officially chosen by Amelia as the program symbol. At the launch ceremony, Amelia spoke to a packed auditorium. A year ago, a man ran into a fire because he heard my daughter crying. Today, I want to build a world where no one has to be afraid when they critique. Ethan stood backstage, warm eyes, Leah and Mia holding hands beside him. After the ceremony, Amelia approached them. If you 2 have room, I want to stay. Ethan smiled. There's always room. The 4 of them walked out together, not as CEO and engineer, not as separate families, just as family. Chosen, real, theirs. The rescue cord now hung in their shared home. In the entryway, a reminder of where they started. Below it, Leah had painted a mural. The airplane, the fire, the rescue, all ending in a house full of light. What do you call this one? Amelia asked. Home, Leah said simply. It's called home. Mia clapped her hands. Home. Her first clear word. They all laughed. That evening, they had dinner together. Nothing fancy, just pasta and laughter. Dad, Leah said, are we a family now? Ethan looked at Amelia. She nodded. Yes, we're a family. Good, because I told my teacher we were. Amelia raised an eyebrow. Did you now? Yep, and she said families are people who stay together. So we're staying, right? Right, Ethan and Amelia said together. Mia mimicked them. Right. After the girls went to bed, Ethan and Amelia sat on the couch. Are we crazy? She asked, moving this fast? Maybe, but I'd rather be crazy with you than careful alone. Same. Besides, we're not moving fast. We're moving at our pace, that's all that matters. When did you get so wise? When an 8-year-old kept asking impossible questions that forced me to figure out answers. She laughed. Leah is pretty wise. She gets it from her mom. My wife always said kids see truth because they haven't learned to lie to themselves yet. She sounds like she was amazing. She was, and I think she'd be happy, seeing me happy again. I hope so. I know so. She told me once if anything happened to her, I had to promise to keep living. Not just surviving, actually living. Are you? Living? He looked around, at the home they'd built, the girls sleeping upstairs, the woman beside him. Yeah, I really am. Me too. For the first time in years, I'm actually living. They sat in comfortable silence. Two people who found each other in chaos, who built peace from flames. The Horizon Project continued growing, saving lives, training heroes, supporting families. But their greatest achievement wasn't the foundation. It was the family they built. From airplane seats and burning buildings. From late-night talks and early morning chaos. From choosing each other every single day. One morning, Leah asked, Dad, why do you still keep that old rescue patch? To remember. Remember what? That helping people is always worth it, even when it's hard, even when it's scary. Because people matter? Exactly, people matter most. Amelia overheard from the kitchen, smiled. This was her family now, not perfect, but real. And real was so much better than perfect. The rescue cord swayed gently in the breeze from the open window, a symbol of their story, of kindness given freely, of love earned slowly, of staying when you could leave. Because some people are worth staying for, and some families are worth fighting for, even if they start on an airplane, in the middle of chaos, with a crying baby and a stranger's kindness. Sometimes that's exactly where the best stories begin. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, leave a comment and subscribe to Hidden Heart Stories. We tell the stories that shouldn't be forgotten.